the price we pay when we come into a new country? This is the question that Luis Alfaro wants us to consider in his new play, Mojada, which is the story of Medea and her husband migrating from Michoacan in Mexico all the way to Los Angeles in hopes of seeking better economic opportunity. It describes the arduous and traumatic experience of crossing the border, including Medea getting raped by a soldier, but it also examines the difficulty in maintaining your cultural roots while assimilating to the United States for migrants. So, the reason I did this was because I'm a Spanish minor and I really wanted to deepen my understanding of contemporary issues and understand how ancient receptions can actually strengthen these or even harm them in some cases. And Medea was the perfect story because her story really transcends cultural boundaries and allows one to feel sympathetic with the main character, Medea. And I thought it was a perfect lens to explore the very complex topic of the immigration crisis. So in this play, I watched the play. I also watched interviews with him. I read the script and I read lots of reviews and articles examining the play's impact and implications in the larger context. And I also researched the playwright, who is Luis Alfaro. He's Chicano and he's also a MacArthur Foundation Fellow. And he really focuses on experimental learning, which means he's always trying to understand the communities and towns near the theaters he produces work in and understanding their struggles and stories, which comes across within this play. So the word mojada, it means wetback. It's a derogatory term for Mexican immigrants who were crossing the Rio Grande River from Mexico. And he's actually taken this term, Alfaro, and tried to disarm it. What that means is by taking this ugly and corrupt word and just using it as the title, he removes the power that the word has, which is thus reclaiming the word for the Chicano community. And let's talk about some of the characters. So I mentioned Medea and her husband Hasson. Medea is a low income seamstress here, and unlike the old Medea, she's very passive. She does not want to assimilate. She's very subservient, and she would be described as the right balance between the two Latino archetypes for the woman of being a virgin and a mother. She's just very pure. Hasson, on the other hand, is ambitious, charming, and he really wants to pull the family out of poverty. And he works in construction under Armida, who is a widow, and she represents not only Glauci but also Creon with her very authoritative confidence. And then finally, we have some supporting characters such as their maid, Tita, who is very loyal and acts as a maternal figure. And then we also have some bits of sorcery and some allusions to possible Medea sorcery through the use of El Guaco, a mythical bird that appears throughout the play and also bookends some of the last parts of the play and makes you sort of question if Medea has powers or not. So, within the plot, they leave Michoacan, they cross the border, and they work in Los Angeles. But Medea is very traumatized by the rape a soldier committed during their crossing, and she doesn't leave the house at all. Whereas Hasson and their son Akan really want to assimilate, and there's a lot of tension between Medea wanting to stick to her roots and maintain her cultural sense of self, which I'll talk about later, and Hasson and Akan really fully embracing their American side, which just points out to the struggle and difficulty in navigating that balance as an immigrant. So within the play, at the end, after Hasson marries Armida, he cites that it'll help them reach more success by having that marriage. Medea kills Armida with a dress. We also learned she killed her brother previously in Mexico when he wouldn't let them leave to migrate, and then she also kills Akan at the end. And the ending is a bit open-ended, if you will. So, one of the most powerful themes in this play is this emphasis on motherhood and family and the way Alfaro actually subverts these expectations and tries to break free of the traditional molds. So, within motherhood, it's a huge ideal within Chicano culture. So, every woman character, the majority of roles are women in this play, which is contrasting the original. Every woman hopes to be a mother of some sort. Even Armida, the villain, hopes to adopt a Khan to fulfill that motherly role. Medea cannot bear losing her son Akan to an Americanized version, so she does kill him. And then finally, Josefina, a supporting character, despite being old, she still wants kids. And it really shows how powerful those traditional ideals are, and how, despite them breaking out of their previously subscribed to norms, they still sort of rely on and still fall back into those ideals of motherhood. In addition, the family unit in Chicano and Latino culture is really powerful. Within this play, it actually amplifies Hason's betrayal, and it transcends gender and race, which is what a lot of playwrights do. They focus on othering Medea, focus on gender and race, but in this play, it's also about cultural sense of self. Because Hason breaks up their family unit, something deeply valued to Medea and also Chicano culture, this gives her more reasoning for her revenge, and it makes it more sympathetic and even understandable when you understand how important it is to Medea and in Chicano culture to maintain that sense of self and that familial, like, cultural self. And then, in addition, combined with Medea being very sympathetic because she's kind and beautiful, this really changes the course of this heroine from the old Medea. In this play, you can easily sympathize with Medea and resonate with a lot of the difficult feelings she feels, not only when she learns of her husband's betrayal, but when she learns of her son and husband constantly trying to Americanize, when she grapples with her traumatic past and her crossing, and just understanding how she can fit in, and realizing the transition where she sort of realizes she's losing a lot of her power and she lacks recourse within the United States is very heartbreaking. And it's something a lot of migrants face, which I thought was great that this play made such a strong commentary on a lot of the complex struggles Latino immigrants in the United States face. And finally, Alfaro tries to disrupt the traditional patriarchal model that's seen in Latino culture by allowing Medea to escape her limited circumstances. Now, granted, she does escape by killing her son and killing Armida, but it's still an escape nonetheless. And he tries to confront these patriarchal models and replace them with something more functional. And he really wants to bring commentary to a lot of the toxic and harmful familial models, despite family being a strong central feature of Latino culture. Another theme I wanted to hit was reclaiming stereotypes. This is a controversial one. When the play was showed in certain locations, for example, Dallas, a lot of people didn't understand the humor, felt the play reinforced stereotypes, especially by the title and its use of characters that fully fit the Latino stereotypes. But Alfaro feels differently. He feels that by using pop culture and humor to diffuse some of the tension between traditional identity and assimilation, he also allows the taking back of these harmful stereotypes and gives a whole new meaning to them. So he fully embraces, for example, Spanglish in his play, like a mix of Spanish and English, because that's what Chicano communities typically in the United States use. And he also embraces a lot of Latino stereotypes in his play and in his other two plays, Oedipus El Rey y La Electricidad, to sort of control the narrative and take back that power that was previously used to harm the Latino community. And he shows just how ugly and corrupt these words can be, but also the power in being able to take them back for yourselves and redefine them, which is really powerful and very relevant in today as well. So I also wanted to talk a little bit about some of the praise and criticism that this play has gotten. So some of the praise I brought up earlier, one of the big things is this play really captures nuance and allows you to visualize what it's like to live within these Latino neighborhoods that are getting more and more gentrified, especially within Boyle Heights, an immigrant-heavy neighborhood where this play takes place in Los Angeles. In addition, the set, I didn't have time to talk about the full set design, but it melds really old and new styles, which is really powerful. In addition, the characters are very relatable. In this version, no one is a villain. Everyone is a victim. Everyone, even Armida. He really wants you to understand what are the circumstances pushing migrants to some of the actions they take in this play, crime. Some criticisms include some playgoers did not like the Spanglish style of the play and criticized what they thought was a soap opera style within the first half. They also think Medea was focused more on her trauma rather than her strength and her revenge like the original Medea. And finally, this play does tackle a lot of social issues, making it very difficult to pinpoint a single one, and it could lack focus. Now, I want you to take away from this play how everyone is a victim of their circumstance, and understand the very unique challenges that migrants face when crossing the border through a humanistic perspective. How can we understand their unique motivations and why they choose to act the way they do? And I want you to consider whether this play wants you to believe the United States is a country of sacrifice or opportunity. Thank you.